Hello, welcome back to my channel. So I've been gone for a while. There has been a lot of shifts and changes, and I've just been really guided to stay within my own space and go through most of the shifts until I come back on here. And so in the last reading I did, it actually came through that there was going to be a standstill, and one of the main energies that came through was also water. Signifying this like rush of energy coming in. And it's been kind of funny because here in Norway, where I live, there has also been a lot of flooding, like flooding that we haven't seen really before in like hundreds of years. And so there's been a lot of water coming in, both literally and also figuratively. And another interesting thing that came through in a reading way back, I think it was actually Aries new moon solar eclipse. I can link it below because I feel that for some of you that reading may actually be significant at this time. But what came through was that the current matrix that we're in is going to start to really break down and deteriorate once we see a lot of issues with the train traffic. And so that is what has manifested now, that because of this flooding, there has been a lot of issues with moving around where I live. And so I think that these are signs that you may be able to see for yourself as well, that, you know, when the old ways of transportation, of moving around, of getting around, particularly collective ways, are starting to break down, that is kind of like a sign that the matrix in your location is weakening. And so at that time, you're likely to go through a huge shift internally. And for me, it's almost been like a second awakening where I've had to rest so much. I've been sleeping a lot more than usual, and everything, like my consciousness has really been pulled down into these depths, you know, into the deeper states of my being. And so maybe I will come back and talk more about this. I also have this long download that I've been recording, and I'm waiting to publish it for you. So there will be a lot more information coming. But right now, I just want to do a reading, just focusing on this new energy that I'm feeling, focusing on this energy of finding our true selves now, stepping into our true selves more and more. So that's what this reading is going to be about. So I am going to use a deck that I've never used on this channel before. It's the White Light Oracle. And it says on here, enter the luminous heart of the sacred. It's a deck by Alana Fairchild. And I also love the depiction on the back because it's the wolf. And to me, the wolf symbolizes that moment when we, you know, we stop being a dog. If you think about the moon card in the tarot, there is like this wolf and this dog in opposition to each other. And when we stop being a dog, just like following the trails, the public transportation, you know, the ways of the collective, and we start to kind of like become a wolf and enter into the forest on our own. And the forest here is kind of symbolizing the old growth of our own mind, right? So when we step into the wolf spirit is really when we start to learn about finding our own path. And this is a very challenging path because when we step out of what is seen as light and we step into the dark, we start being confronted as well with a lot of these challenging feelings of the dark. And so I'm feeling that for some of you, you may really be starting to go through this right now, that maybe you're purging a lot, or maybe a lot of challenging emotions are coming to the surface. Maybe you're feeling a lot of anger, hopelessness, even fear. It's a sign that you're stepping onto your wolf path. And This is kind of like a test. It's the test of your life to see whether you're going to be able to rise into kind of like your humanity and new earth. And so, yeah, let's just pull a card here to see what comes through. For the people watching this, what do we need to know? Highest good of all. I'm hearing that there is a lot of reshuffling going along, is what I'm hearing. Okay, so a bunch of cards coming out. Underneath the deck was Busted, and it says 174 hertz. Cat Spirit. Okay, so there was one card falling face up here. It says Epsilon Modulation. So I'm definitely feeling that this is some kind of activation happening here to your crown and your heart chakra particularly, but really all of the chakras. So let's just see what it says in the book here, because like I said, I don't really use this deck that much. I haven't been using this deck. I've been using it a little bit, but not that much. So I don't really have that deep of a connection to these cards. So I'm just going to read the overview of this energy here. It says, gather your energies and go within to regenerate. Let your actions match your inner rhythms rather than trying to force yourself to keep pace with external cues. Commit to your own natural timing and pace. As you ground and connect to your center, you will realize your spiritual power to be at cause in any situation of concern. You have such goodness and light within you. Let go of shaming or blaming. Embrace the spiritual beauty within. Yeah, so when I was reading this, I felt a lot of fear coming from some of you. This is so normal when we, again, like are breaking away from the matrix, when the matrix is breaking down, because we're entering into unknown territory. And fear is really there to make us more sensitive. It's there to make us slow down. It's there to make us think again and not just take everything at face value. Again, this is what really separates the wolf from the dog. You can train the dog to override its own instincts. Like I've seen tests where they've been doing this, where they've been hiding food in certain places, but the owner of the dog is still able to force the dog to go away from the food, even though the dog can smell the food. But it's like the owner can override the natural instincts of the dog. With the wolf, this is no longer possible. The wolf will not listen to the authority if it can sense that there is another way. And so this is what we're starting to awaken, I feel, or some of you, I feel, are really starting to awaken this deeper guidance. But when this happens, there will also be a lot of fear, because your dog self doesn't just die. It's constantly there. Like you see in the moon card, it is this opposition of these two forces. And so it's gonna be there, fearful, just like the whimpering little dog, while the wolf start to emerge and grow more powerful. And so it's just about understanding these two sides of ourselves, accepting them, rather than judging them and demonizing them. So I feel for a lot of you, you're starting to understand your own nature more right now, and you're starting to work with it rather than demonizing it. You're really stepping out of that big man archetype, the god that demonizes the things that he or she does not understand. So that's super cool. There were two more cards here. One in reverse, one in the upright. It says Pearl of Sharow, one of them, in the upright here. And then Archon Barbello was in the reverse. This is number 35 and 10, and the other one was number 28. So let's read these two as well. Taking responsibility for your experiences empowers you. You are going to resolve an issue through spiritual inspiration and higher guidance. You will rise up in full connection to your spirit and access a wealth of divine treasure. That which has brought darkness into your world shall submit to the light and be transformed. Have courage and commitment to your awakening, for you are a precious being and can go far on the spiritual path this lifetime. So I feel like some of you, you're really building your consciousness is actually what I'm getting, because it's like a pearl here. So it's like realizing the different layers of your consciousness on a different level. Like I said, it feels like instead of fighting something and trying to push something out of your light, out of your consciousness, again, this is kind of like that archetype of the old god or Adam, if you will. That's how Lilith was created. You know, he was like, I don't understand you, and so you must leave, kind of like the Garden of Eden. This is that same pattern that we're taught to do in the old matrix. The things that we don't like, the feelings that we don't like, we create kind of demons out of them by pushing them out. And so I feel like for many of you, you're starting to understand this on a more personal level. Like you're starting to catch yourself, I feel, in the moment doing it and realizing like, this actually doesn't help me. Like I'm just making my shadow bigger. Like I'm making my light smaller. And so I feel like for some of you, you're starting to work with understanding instead of judging. Like you're starting to try to understand these darker forces that are holding you back from kind of becoming a big man in the matrix, holding you back from succeeding in the old matrix, because I feel like you're starting to realize that these are actually keys to your own personal spiritual development. You know, bringing in the parts of you that are not gonna just be a little dog, you know, in the matrix, but the parts of you that are actually powerful enough to bring in something new entirely, something that isn't seen yet in the matrix. And so that's what I'm feeling. But then we do have this other card here as well. Your biology and gender are creative and powerful means for you to express your soul path. Sometimes you may feel limited by gender constraints or stereotypes, but your spirit can never be restricted or controlled. Embrace the journey of what it feels like to be you in your own body. There is much benefit and healing to be gained through an embrace of your life journey, including the deeper experience of the absolute freedom of your spirit. Yeah, so I feel that many of you, you may definitely be coming up against some of the limiting factors of the matrix that you live in terms of, yeah, definitely gender. You know, for instance, that men shouldn't be emotional or chaotic, for instance. Right now, as we're starting to move back to the feminine spirit and reawaken it, we have to, you know, we have to be, we have to accept that irrational side to us and understand that it's only irrational because the current understanding of the matrix, you know, the current science, the current data that we have access to cannot understand it, cannot fully describe it. That's why we see it as irrational. But really, everything is according to universal law and order. Like there is a reason for everything. It's like cause and effect. And so thinking that something is just purely irrational, it is stupidity. You know, it is because we just don't understand it. And instead of acknowledging that and say, like, we don't know about this yet, we just pretend that we are above it. Again, it's that old kind of like, yeah, archetype of trying to model ourselves and our own consciousness after God. And so I feel like a lot of you are coming up against these blocks or these boundaries within your own reality, and you're starting to actually, it's almost as if I'm seeing that you're not necessarily breaking them, but it's more like you're going underground to get past them. it's like you're actually going into nature and understanding nature, and that allows you, it's almost like the earth opens up to you, you know, that the feminine opens up to you, and she's like, I'll let you pass because you see me, you work with me, you understand me, like you are a light that makes me more valuable. And so for some of you, this is very powerful energy right here, to where you're establishing actually union and feeling on a different level. So this may be in regards to anything that is related to kind of like the feminine spirit. Cool. Let's also pull some tarot cards here to see if there's anything else we need to know. Yeah, the Fool, you know, stepping outside of the matrix, not being afraid to be a zero anymore, to be not being so afraid to be a fool anymore, not being so afraid of other people that are very much still bound by the matrix, not understanding you. But it's like rather accepting that and just being like, this is where I'm at right now. This is an important part of my journey. It's the part where I'm becoming no one. I'm letting go of my old identity so that I can really start to find like the truth of who I am. And I feel two more cards coming out there, or there were two more cards coming out there, was the Wheel of Fortune and the Seven of Swords. So I feel like this is leading to positive changes, but with the Seven of Swords, and underneath the deck was like the Four of Cups and the Seven of Cups. And the moon here, like I talked about, you know, with the wolf and the dog. Coming out of the water as well. I would say give yourself some time, give yourself some grace, you know. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't expect yourself to all of a sudden become super brave. like I said, the dog is gonna come up. The wolf, the wolf is gonna want to break away from the matrix, but the fear of the dog is gonna be present, is what I'm feeling. And it may cause you to sometimes sneak away and not stand up for what you believe in. I actually don't feel this as being a negative. I'm hearing it's the path of peace actually at this point in time. I feel like we're meant to sneak off and not go into a fight and a confrontation until we're actually not angry anymore. You know, until our inner wolf is actually not growling anymore, until our inner wolf has kind of turned into a human and we're standing in peace because we have found ourselves and we're like so grateful to be who we are finally. Doesn't matter if other people understand it or not. It's almost like when we find ourselves, we're just gonna be like so freaking grateful. We're like, oh my god, thank me, like thank me, like for everything I've done for myself to truly step into this reason that I'm here. You know, connecting to the purpose that you came. When we reach that point, I feel like we're just going to be such a peaceful, calm, and loving energy, and we're just going to be able to scramble people just with our presence. It's almost like not even needing to speak. But I feel like we're not there yet, and we're not meant to be there yet, because it's like it's a journey. It's a journey. And so I feel like we just have to accept that. That our energy is kind of like back and forth with the moon here. You know, we're not yet in the sun. It's kind of back and forth, but that doesn't mean that this stage doesn't hold a lot of value, that it's not such an important part of our journey, that, you know, not everyone is going to have the guts to take with the Fool here. Not everyone is going to be okay with stepping into this energy of the zero to walk their own way. It's only a chosen few, you know, it's only a chosen few. It's those that have this strength, inner strength of the wolf spirit. Strong instincts is what I'm hearing. So I'm gonna end the reading there. I hope you're all doing good. Listen to your instincts, but I would say don't let them get you into trouble right now. Um, you know, it's like it's almost like I'm feeling be courageous, but also be okay with being a coward sometimes. It's like both, embrace both, because it will give you freedom to really tune into the highest good of all. So take care, guys. I hope you're doing good. Bye.